Right, hello and welcome everyone. This is episode 1 of the Green Room podcast. I'm your host DJ Green. I'm sure you all know that. I'm very famous across the land, and this is episode 1. And today I'm interviewing the wild and wonderful Arcane Soaks. Sam, could you give yourself a bit of an introduction there?
Yes, yo, what's up guys? Arcane Soaks, rapper, videographer, motherfucking
Shitehawk.
Shitehawk, yeah, edgelord, Shitehawk. I'll be doing bits, causing havoc, running amok, miscreant. That's all you need to know.
Could you give us a bit of an intro as to, I know it's the typical kind of response, but how did you get really kind of started with rapping and your whole kind of creative side, I guess?
Yeah, I guess the first time I put out music was the first time I started taking it seriously probably around 2016. I was actually just looking at some old bars I'd written from 2013, which is a traumatic experience, but I wrote rhymes from about then to 2013, but then 2016 I found the Irish Hip Hop Facebook page, which is
the Steve Locke one.
Yes, Mr. Locke. I discovered that and realised that there were motherfuckers actually putting on gigs and you know, putting out content that transcended just like notes on your phone. Like, fuckers were actually
content that wasn't embarrassing either. It was actually quality stuff.
Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, some of it's pretty embarrassing. Like looking back at some of the old bars, but
some shit didn't age so well.
Yeah. But that's the same with anything really, you know. But at the time, it wasn't embarrassing. It was like they were actually putting up music on SoundCloud, and back then it was Bandcamp as well. So that's when I was like, you know, I could actually put my nose to the grindstone and try to piece together some, like a body of work. And that's when I recorded my magnum opus, Milk Straight from the Udders Volume 1, which is which doesn't exist.
Is that like the weird ginger kid era?
Yeah. That was actually just after that. So the first thing I put out was, do you know the Keep It Thorough beat by Mobb Deep or Alchemist or something? Do you know that beat?
I know it, yeah.
Yeah, the first thing I ever put out was with one of my like retarded friends from school called Harry, and I wanted to put it out with him because so that it would kind of soften the blow when I went in to school on Monday, like. So
it wouldn't just be you that gets bullied for it.
Yeah, like and my bars were obviously significantly better in delivery, so it kind of took the spotlight off me, and so that was the first thing I put out, and then I put out another thing, and then it was Weird Ginger Kid Raps, and then I remember I put that out in like May, and then that summer is when I put out Milk Straight from the Udders, which was just like a 6-track EP off beats I'd ripped off YouTube.
And how was it received?
It wasn't really. It wasn't really. For some reason, the videos did bits. Like, I got, you know, a few hundred views on the videos, but I remember dropping the EP and promoting it, and just no one was really rocking with it for some reason. I think.
Were you in contact with any other kind of rappers from the scene at the time, or was it just kind of you're just doing it by yourself?
It was like I would get the odd comment off Disgrace, Steve, Kenny Weed, who's now in prison for stabbing a guy. Free Kenny Weed, but I would get the odd sort of look in from them, but I wasn't like, there was no back and forth discourse or anything at that time. It was just comments, you know. But yeah, that flopped, and then I put out Volume 2 the year after. That flopped as well. So yeah, it's just trying to build, just get with every project, just get a little bit more
of a
friction,
buzz.
you know. Yeah, just it doesn't happen overnight, you know.
it's definitely at least for me as well, it was a deciding factor. Like when I was started off in Galway, I didn't know any rappers or any artists besides myself. Obviously I was listening to the likes of Costello and Jambo and them, like, but I didn't know those guys personally. It wasn't until I moved to Limerick that I actually, you know, became friendly with a lot of other producers and rappers and started putting my stuff out online and stuff like that. And you actually you kind of, once you get kind of accepted into the circle, I guess, and they kind of start sharing your stuff and, you know, giving you a bit of insight and stuff like that, it kind of opens up new avenues, definitely. Like, so that aspect to it is definitely kind of bigger.
You need that morale boost. I mean, it's
true, yeah.
Sometimes I like to tell myself I'm a lone wolf and I don't need anybody. I'll do it all on my ones. But like at the end of the day, now you do need support. You do need people to share it and kind of boost the confidence a little bit. Now, were you making beats first or were you rapping first, or did they coincide? Oh yeah, no, it was beats for me. Like I've told the story a million times whenever I was being interviewed on any show or podcast or anything like that. I was it was just one boring summer really. Like my a mate of mine now who's a primary school teacher, he was just, me and him just kind of bonded over rap and stuff like that. And I, even when I was younger, I wasn't really a hip-hop head. Like, I don't think I got full on into hip-hop, like, where I was like, I'm really passionate about this, till I was in my very late teens, if not early adult years. Like, I was a metalhead kind of before that. And it was just kind of around that era that I started getting into rap more, besides just NWA, Eminem and all that stuff. And he was making he was just getting like instrumentals, like say the Juicy instrumental off YouTube, and then sticking a Tupac a cappella over it, and that's all he was doing. And then I started doing that as well, and then I just got really into it, and he moved on obviously into more regular type shit, and I still, like, it was kind of something I just enjoyed doing, and I continued on. And it wasn't until kind of I was finishing up school and I hadn't a fucking clue what I wanted to do. So I said, fuck it, I'll try the sound production course over in GTI, Galway Technical Institute. And I really, like, I'd say it's definitely a huge boost was the fact that my lecturers and teachers there were top notch, like really good, and they knew what they were doing, and I really enjoyed it. Which was definitely a vastly different experience to school. Like, so I'd say thanks to them, I kept with it, and obviously went on to Limerick then and did it in college there. I started off producing beats. I actually had been kind of writing raps here and there for years, but it was nothing I'd fucking published to society, I put it that way. Like, but it wasn't until I guess for me, like, I'd done a lot of stuff with rappers, but not nearly as much as I felt I should have been, because I produced so much beats. I was always in contact with people, but a lot of the time I was getting my time wasted, and I was like, fuck it, you know, I mean, I could probably rap better than some of these guys eventually, like. And definitely with the early stuff I wouldn't agree, but like definitely in the last while I've picked up a lot, and a lot of people would agree that I've improved hugely. But yeah, no, it was beats for years, and I'd say like it's only actually been like 2.5 years maybe since I actually released something for the first time. Like, it feels like a lot longer, but it really isn't. It's just, I guess it feels longer when you're kind of fully dedicated to it and you're doing it every day, all day. It feels so much longer, and then it's like, hang on, I actually only released that project like 8 months ago. There's such a huge gap between A and Z here. Like, I'd say as well, with producing, it's a lot easier to do without kind of getting embarrassed or getting picked at. It's like, oh, you make beats, it's hard to make it's hard to make shit beats, kind of, you know. Once you have the formula figured out, it's pretty easy. But like, I had the rap formula figured out quick enough, but like you know, getting that like, there's just, people don't realize there is a lot of fucking absolutely lethal MCs in this country. So it's kind of like, you make something, you're like, oh, that's really good, and then like, I'm really happy with that, it sounds way better than the first thing I made. But then you listen to someone else's latest shit and you're like, yeah, but like, I mean, that's, you know, getting massacred by this. Beats is like, you know, no one ever really slagged me off for doing beats, but I was like, I know if I get up and start rapping, it's going to be a different story. And it wasn't the case that I really give a fuck about what people think, but it was more so I felt I'd be unfairly judged. So that's kind of why I put the mask on at the start. As attention. And it worked wonders, because I could get honest opinions off people as well, where I'd be like, oh, I produced the beat on this song, and not tell them who the rapper is. Like, oh, what you think of the rapper? And usually I got pretty good reviews, like, or if I was getting
any negative comments, it wasn't just for the sake of like, I don't like this cunt, so I'm gonna fucking say something lousy. Which outside of the hip hop scene, a lot of Irish people are kind of like that. You know, it's like, oh, you're getting notions because you want to be a rapper or a producer. Like, what the fuck you at?
Yeah.
And whether it's good or not, they'll still kind of shit on it.
See,
so I think that go ahead.
Criticism's fine, but it's when fuckers just like, it's not criticism, it's just slagging you off because you're doing something and you're doing something that's a little bit unorthodox. You know, you're not working in a bar, you're not laying bricks.
It's really not like that in other countries. Like, from what I've gathered, like, people usually are like, hey man, like, this is my friend, he's a rapper, and like, he could be fucking awful, but they're all just so like, you know, they're pushing them so much, like. But in Ireland, it really isn't like that. You have to really, and I mean, it's good in a sense, you have to really earn people's respect, but I do think, like, I could show the average guy the best rappers in this country, and they'd just be like, that's shite, simply because I don't like his accent.
Because
like, I mean,
and the accent,
like, straight up, and I'll say it, like, some of the best rappers in this country are some of the best rappers in the world. Like, when we're talking like For Real, G.I, Re-Raw, Trust,
I know.
Like, I easily rate them up there with some of the best rappers of all time. Like, I mean, if I was to do my genuine top 100, some of them would be in there, no doubt about it. Like, I think people just fail to acknowledge that aspect to it. Like,
man, it's like I was saying on my podcast the other day, some of my favorite rappers and some of the people who have the best pen and the best penmanship, in my opinion, get like 30 monthly listeners on Spotify because they don't have the machine behind them. They don't have the face. They don't have the machine. They don't have 100 friends to blow smoke up their ass and tell them they're way better than they actually are. So they kind of get shelved in that regard. But if you look at the penmanship, if you look at the actual fucking layers to what they're saying, it's like this is just as good as J. Cole. This is just as good
100%
as Tyler,
if
the
not
Creator.
better.
Yeah, if not better. So you know, you've got to see through the optics of it and just look at the music from a point of view, a more objective point of view, I think.
But I think as well we lack the glamour because it's kind of like when you look at an American rapper, the typical American rapper or the typical UK rapper, they look like, you know, the stereotypical hard man from those areas, but we're from Ireland, so we only see them on the outside, so we're like, that's cool. But when you see a white lad in a tracksuit spitting rhymes, it's like, he looks like a fellow who'd rob my phone, or he looks like a fellow who'd start on me on a night out. Like, it's like, I'm just gonna instantly shit on what he's doing. It's like, no, like, this guy is fucking talented. Like, I mean, immensely. Like, people, like, I've said it already, but I'll say it again. Like, genuinely, like, if you're not listening to Irish hip hop, just get over it. Like, because even myself, when I first got into it, like, I was about 18, and the accents were a little bit of something to get used to. But then after that, I was like, hang on a fucking second. Like, I mean, this shit's actually fucking really, really good. Like, and now, like, you know what I mean? 90% of what I actually listen to actively, besides old school stuff, is all Irish shit. All of it.
I think the accent's hard as well. Like, I've never really had a problem with the accent. I mean, I obviously it's a rite of passage to start off, I think, rapping in a Yank accent. But when I started listening to Steve and Disgrace and heard them, and Dexter as well. Do you know Dexter? You ever listen to him? Dexter 144.
His name's ringing a bell.
He doesn't rap anymore, I don't think, but he's fire. And they were rapping in the harshest. It wasn't even like my accent. Sometimes I think there's a little bit of an American twist, but they were just rapping like hard, unapologetic, like East Belfast, West Belfast. Accents, and I was like, this is because it's different. You need something. You need a USP. You need something to separate you from, as you say, the English, the drill heads over in England, and you need something to make you stand out. And I think the accent is a great little sort of unique aspect to the scene.
Definitely,
you know.
And the side I love too is kind of like, when you're actually in that area that they hail from and you're listening to the music, it hits so much harder. Like, and I got that like times 10 because when I was in America, like, listening to New York rap, walking down the streets of New York was like, this is literally the place that they're talking about. Like, it made Illmatic and fucking 36 Chambers hit so much harder. And same when I was in LA, and I think over the years it's the same case with Irish rap. Like, when I'm strolling through Clondalkin in Dublin and I'm listening to fucking working class records, it's like, it hits way harder. It's like, no, this is legit. Like, these are the spots they're on about. Like, it's a different kettle of fish to where I grew up Limerick City, like listening to fucking Ismisha by Hazy Haze. Like, it's like, I was telling him myself when I first bought the album and I was listening to it, I put it in my earphones and I walked down the street and like there was some fella getting fucking pulled up on the curb, like lights flashing, fucking getting pulled out of the car and slammed on the floor. Like, I was like, this is the, you know, Limerick City as it's known. And it's the same with the northern rap, same with Cork stuff. I think Connacht definitely kind of lacks a little bit of that, because at least for me, like Galway people, we have a very neutral accent, so I don't think people would listen to my stuff and be like, oh, that's Galway. And Galway just doesn't have that kind of like edgy side to it. Galway's a very relaxed, kind of artsy place, whereas the likes of Cork, Dublin, Belfast, Limerick, they have that grit where it's kind of, there's an unknown there that people don't get. Same to the unknown that people are appealed to when it comes to fucking, you know, Straight Outta Compton, 36 Chambers, all that stuff. It's like, it's a whole other world that people don't know about, and this is the fucking music that's been bred by it. So it's like, it's kind of cool, definitely for me, that like Ireland has achieved that in a sense. At least if you listen to it fucking fine, in like a more fine-tuned sense, or more in depth, it's like there's a variety of identities there that have been really kind of brought to the fucking mix nowadays, which wasn't so much the case, I guess, 10 years ago. It kind of was just kind of working class records, Scary Era, and a couple of others, and no one else really kind of knew about the rest of them. But now I think, especially in the last couple of years, the scene has blown up, and you've got fucking rappers from Laois, Carlow, Tip, all these other counties that no one's fucking ever heard of. Like, it's top notch.
But you got a lot of, like, fortunately you got a lot of normies jumping on the bandwagon and like rapping when it's too easy. There is a downside to what you're saying, and that's that it's too easy, it's too accessible. Like, and I think the market does become oversaturated, and then a lot of the good artists get shelved because they. The big thing as well is the visual side of things, like the music videos. Some of the greatest rappers in the country are putting out the worst, like lowest budget music videos, and then you've got like whack rappers who maybe know, a videographer with a nice red 4K camera, and then
stick a Merc in the video, like
and they've got loads of bodies on the estate, and they've got an Alsatian and a few smoke bombs, and they go down, and that's what people love. Do you know what I mean? They love that. They just want when people see that you've got this like shiny 4K, glossy video with all these jump cuts and fancy.
It does make a difference. They don't. Me and yourself are definitely into a lot of like old school underground shit where it's like we like the grit and we like the fucking cheap videos and stuff like that. I don't think there's so much of a culture with that with the younger generation, with the layman crystal clean trap and drill.
Yeah, the layman.
They don't understand that. They just think it's shit because it's shit, not because that's actually a fucking art style kind of.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I've always I have the equipment where I could go out and shoot something like that you see on GRM Daily and the likes, but I prefer to focus on the editing and make it like just fuck it up and make it look really experimental in the edit. And I don't really put much. I probably should put more effort into lighting the shots and getting like a whole crew of people to stand behind me while I'm rapping, and the props and the mise-en-scène. But I just like going out, shooting something in different locations, and then
enjoying yourself too, like.
Yeah, trying to be creative with the editing side. But yeah, it's something you've gotta. The videos have to be good as well. Like some of the some videos I see posted in the Irish hip hop scene or the Irish hip hop page, I immediately see the portrait phone shot, and I'm like, I probably shouldn't watch this. It's probably gonna be whack. And then I watch it and it's fire, and then I get angry because I'm like, put that on wax and get a good videographer to edit it. Do you know what I mean? To shoot it and edit it.
I'm kind of sick of the. Yeah, I'm kind of sick of the fucking. There's like the standard video now. Like there has to be the drone shot. There has to be the car. There has to be this, that, and the other. And for me, like it's like. I don't want to invest in my biggest, best video till I know I'm at that level where it's like it's gonna be worth the payoff. I kind of just prefer, like, it's like I'm a solid rapper and fucking I'm a decent producer and I'm a decent editor as well. I'd rather put together something that's more down to earth rather than having the big epic video and it's kind of like looking back in a couple of years and be like, that song's not all that great. I want it to be something timeless.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people jump straight in. People are jumping straight into it now because it's so accessible, and like, what's his name? Vinny Paz made a good comment about the internet being a blessing and a curse. It does give people the avenue just to get up and make music, as opposed to back in the 90s where like you had to go through some hoops even just to get a fucking mixtape out there, or get something on the radio, or get something out there. Whereas now you can just do it.
Yeah.
But with that, there is a lot of absolute shite that just gets fucking just as much attention and whatever publicity because of that. And I think a lot of people don't realize, like, you do realize it is so easy. Like, they don't kind of acknowledge how easy it is actually just to fucking get out there now. So if they kind of make more of a big deal out of it, it's like whether it's shit or not. It's like, Jesus, back in our day, like, you know, it was still totally different.
the way to separate the sheep from the chaff, is that the idiom? Wheat from the chaff? Is to ask yourself, like, how many people would be putting out music if it was, as you say, back in the 90s, and you had to go through the trials and tribulations of, you know, saving up money. I know you would. I know I would. I know, you know, the you know, some of the more quote unquote old heads from the Irish hip hop group would, but
most old heads aren't even old either. They're just like
quarter, like, I don't know.
We're so young, I guess. Like,
yeah, we're still
35 is an old head in Irish hip hop, like.
Yeah, but motherfucking, what was I gonna say? Like, some of the I think we're not putting out the GRM Daily style videos, and they're the videos that pop off. But the guys that wouldn't have jumped through the hoops, as you say, back in the day, they're the ones putting out the videos that do bits and that really catch wind in the current cultural zeitgeist. And it's quite disheartening. But, you know, I mean, I'd rather not be getting, you know, tens of thousands of views and putting out content that I would watch if it weren't me, than putting out than following the carbon copy format that people are doing and getting lots and lots of eyeballs on me. Because a lot of these guys won't be around in 3 years. You know what I mean?
No,
they're not going to be around.
I've said that. I said that a lot of that stuff's not going to stand the test of time, for a fact.
No, not at all.
I won't be losing my mind if it does, but I do agree with that. I don't think that they're going to be around forever, and I don't think they're going to be doing this in 10 years' time. Like, I'll be doing this in 10 years' time, whether or not I've, you know, climbed the ladder any further. But I mean, I've successfully climbed it bit by bit since I started. So, you know what I mean? Like, at least definitely on the production side, like, you know, there's stuff I've produced and stuff that I will be producing that's, you know, in the works. That, I mean, fuck me, if you told me this 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I'd been like, fuck off, that's not happening. Like, so do you know what I mean? If you're persistent in the background, things will work out for you, whether you're rapping, producing, or putting on gigs or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, if you're doing it for the right reasons and you know, the right level of passion, it should work out for you. Not a whole lot of people seem to give up very easily. I've seen that, you know, there's not a lot of one-hit wonders, but definitely I can see with some people, like, after a couple of years, if it's not reaching a certain height, they're like, nah, this isn't working, fuck it. It's like, that really shouldn't be your mentality. Reach for the stars, but, you know, stay humble and just be happy that, you know, you're fucking, it's better to do it than not do it, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, what would you be doing if you weren't making tunes? You'd be just going to work, going drinking, doing regular stuff, you know what I mean? So it's a nice avenue to have, whether or not it's hyper successful. That's the way I look at it, you know?
It's a creative outlet. It's therapy. I treat it as therapy, and another thing I've been trying to teach myself is to give myself a pat on the back for small victories, and think about how, like, 5 years ago, if you told me I would be getting on stage and doing a 30-minute set on my own, even if it's just in front of 50 people, I would have laughed at you. You know, I would have
laughed at myself as well. Like,
the courage to do that, and I have done that. But it's like, you know, I shared a thing on my Instagram the other day. It was like talking about, it was Albert Camus said, every achievement is a bondage because it compels you to a higher achievement. So I'm trying to just, like, every time I have a little achievement, even if it's something kind of minor, just realize that was an achievement. That was something that prior to reaching that goal, I was coveting other people who could do that, and now I've done it, so I give myself a pat on the back. Yeah, I'm not Frito, I'm not AJ Tracy, but I've made that little step. I've reached that stepping stone in my own life and my own trajectory, so that counts.
I'd agree. I've definitely shat on kind of my own accomplishments a couple of times. Been like, like stuff, even just like I've made CDs, with sick artwork and sold these CDs, and I've done gigs. I've put on my own gigs. I've DJ'd for artists that I actually in some cases grew up listening to. I've produced tracks for artists in Ireland and outside of Ireland that I grew up listening to. I've fucking produced songs that hit #1 in the charts, like, and I mean, while the buzz wasn't so, I mean, for me, something like that, I would have thought, like, geez, if I got a track #1 in the charts, like, that would be like, I'd be fucking going on a red carpet. It certainly wasn't like that at all, but looking back, it's like, that's still a fucking big deal. Like, I mean, again, it's another thing. It's like, you told me that 5 years ago, I'd be like, absolutely not, man. Like, they're definitely much smaller steps than I thought they would be. Like, I thought they'd be bigger when thinking back then, but having been on that path for the last couple of years, I realize there's a lot more to it than that. Like, I mean, it is kind of luck in a sense, but like, you really have to, there's a lot more of a climb than people actually think to really kind of get out there and be successful making the music that you like the most, like, because there is a lot of guys out there that are, successful down one avenue, but it's like, but personally, I know, and they've told me, like, I prefer to be making the exact music I want to make, but I know I have to kind of construct it a certain way and censor it a certain way and convey and display it a certain way to kind of reach a certain kind of avenue of success as opposed to the one I want. So it's kind of, it is ballsy in a sense to stay away from that. Me personally, I only go for the stuff I like to make, and that's it. Like, if someone wants to pay me to produce a Drake beat, yeah, sure, I'll do that. But realistically, I really I've much more respect for myself, and I would be more, pleased with my success if I just stuck with what I know, what I like to do, and then just enjoying it as best as I can, while also achieving as much potential success as possible, which I guess only really boils down to the finance side. It's like, we'd all love to be able to pay the rent off the music, never mind drive Ferraris and fucking live in Miami. Like, it's like, if you're paying the rent or paying most of your bills off music, that's fucking brilliant. Like, that's you've won basically there, like, as far as I'm concerned.
That's all I want. And like, I just need a roof over my head. The first two layers of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if I can get those, if I can get survival, if I can have a roof over my head, food in the fridge, and some
couple
good
of cans.
friends, that's all, and be doing what I love every day. A couple of cans on the weekend, the occasional cigar, but it's not, I don't need, as you say, we don't need fucking Ferrari Enzos and Swedish masseuses.
But I wouldn't say no to it, so if anyone wants to appease that,
I wouldn't say no. I mean, if you're tuned in, I mean, hit us up. But just because, as you say, just because we don't have Scooter Braun or Coach K knocking at our door doesn't mean we're not achieving something in our own lives. We're doing it our way, and we're doing what we love, and that's the main thing. But I think it's okay to tailor a little bit. That's something I'm trying to do, is like tailor my music so that it does slightly appeal to a larger commercial audience without it becoming, I don't mind tailoring as long as it doesn't become cookie cutter, as long as it's not what everyone else is doing. Do you know what I mean? Because my natural inclination is to just go on a beat and spit 64 bars, no hook, to some fucking old school
saves myself, really,
weirdo beat that I've found. Yeah, do you know what I mean? But no one really wants to listen to that. So I wanna, well, a few people do, but like they live in the fringes.
The mainstream.
Of society.
It's not what's
the masses want to hear.
What's right now.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah. So I'm always gonna come with bars, but I will do, hooks. I'll make the hooks a little bit more catchy. I'll have melodic cadences in the music, but just to get a few more eyeballs, and I have noticed that it works. More people have been based on the streams on the music that I've put out, the more melodic stuff does get a couple.
It is a very unique sound you have.
Streams.
I've said that before. It's actually an episode of what's Jason Sims' podcast called again? Uncensored.
Uncensored.
We did actually record an episode after
yeah.
that successfully recorded, but when we did the initial one, it didn't record on my end for whatever fucking reason. But we spent like fucking 20 minutes talking about you,
Okay.
and I was just saying like Arcane sucks. He's a shite hawk. No, no, but what we were actually saying was like he is genuinely one of the most unique guys on the fucking on the island. Like in terms of your style, I really can't compare it to anyone at all. Like there's just your. There's, obviously rap is poetry, but like only certain rappers come off very poetic. Trust would be another one for me. Re-Raw would be another one. Lunatic would be another one. God rest his soul. But you especially, there's something about it. Like it's like you could just strip away the music and hear it. Like you could easily be like a fucking Seamus Heaney type character sitting in the fucking woods, with a pipe, just being like talking shit. But but no, 100%, man. Like.
Chewing hay.
Yeah, like there's a very unique sound to it. It's very poetic and melodic, and really like. I mean, obviously, like most of the best artists and rappers in this country are very unique on some level, but there's still bits and pieces of other rappers that you can go like, here, you sound a little. There's a bit of him in there, and there's a bit of him there, and there's a bit of her there. With you, I can't really say that at all whatsoever. Like it's very a unique sound, and that doesn't always work. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Those are some nice words, man. I appreciate that. I listen to everything, so at all, and I do read a little bit of poetry and not poetry. I read like, I do read Charles Bukowski and Hunter S. Thompson and stuff like that. So that's kind of that sort of dark. I like dark imagery.
Same.
I like dark, nihilistic, melancholic, depressing shit. And a lot of the way these guys write is imagery. I like.
I'd be on the same page as well. Like I wouldn't say my stuff is quite on your level, but I definitely like to. That's what I've always like. My favorite stuff to listen to, where I really got the biggest buzz off it, was sitting back by myself, lighting a spliff, and just listening and visualizing it so vividly. Dirty Dyke, I think, actually is one who's not necessarily on the total
Dirty
poetic
Dyke,
side, but fucking so visual. Like whether even though he's talking pure gibberish in a sense, like sometimes it's like. I'm visualizing exactly what he's talking about.
He chats was, yeah. He's rapping like it's just pure hedonism, like going out and getting fucked up and having promiscuous sex and being a scumbag. But it's, as you say, it's poetic. Jam
Definitely,
Baxter,
a lot of the high focus guys.
Scott, all those
Task
high
Force as well.
A lot of those high focus guys. I would say Jam Baxter doesn't. He's not as much of a scumbag as the likes of Lee Scott or Dirty Dyke. Or who else is on that label? Chester P is another one.
I don't think he's on high focus though.
He's very underrated. No, I don't think he is. But he's
there'd be flip tricks.
But, no, you're right,
Four
he's not
Owls,
on
Leaf
high
Dog.
Flip
Ocean
Tricks.
Wisdom's gone now. He's not there with them anymore.
No, but he's blowing up now. He's doing tracks with Method Man and shit.
Yeah, he fucked off. He fucked off. Apparently.
Yeah, I think he's kind of he's really taken off and sort of I think maybe forgetting about the guys that he came up with. I don't know. I don't want to say that.
That is the supposed narrative. Not to toot my own horn too much, but I spoke to Dyke about it at when he was gigging up north when David Gilmour put on that gig, and I remember saying to him, like, what's the story with Ocean Wisdom? I haven't seen anything of him in a while. He's like, oh, look, I won't get into too much detail, but basically, like, he took what he wanted and fucked off pretty much, like, and forgot about all of us. So, like, look, it's not for us really to talk about. We don't know him that well, but just that is the supposed narrative, like.
We don't know him, but I had no idea that conversation had happened, but I could kind of get that feeling off him that he just sort of he caught a little bit.
Because Dyke produced his first album, so I would have thought, like, it is his best album as far as I'm concerned. The production on that is fucking unbelievable, like. So I kind of was wondering, like, how come like those guys haven't kind of been brought along, and like that's something I've always said, like, it's like, don't forget about the people that supported you initially. Like, say, like, I'm on the label now with Bad Arts, and it's me kind of primarily running it. It's like, that's the way I'd hope that all of us would do it too. Like, if we kind of, really jumped over the wall, like, bring us along with you. Like, we've been there supporting you from day one, and vice versa. So, do you know what I mean? Like, if I hit it big, And whether or not it was Bad Arts or Attention or DJ Green they were looking for, I'd be like, yeah, but I'm bringing these fucking 6 or 7 lads with me, like, and that's plain and simple, like, you know. What you like,
it's a party here. It's a
exactly
shindig,
because
yeah.
if it's something I know I would want my friends to do, like, obviously I wouldn't like to tell them, like, okay, look, if you get to this level, you're bringing me with you, like, I'm gonna be there with you. But you'd expect that they're thinking the same. It's like, all right, well, of course, like, I know that if he won a big, I'd be going with him, so, you know, I'm going to take him along with me.
And it's not fun if you do it on your own. Like, I wouldn't want to do a huge gig if it was me and a load of other, like, strangers. You want to move with people that you grew up with, because you have that rapport, you have that strong bond, and that'll carry you through. Like, how many times have you seen artists who don't know each other, they've been put together and it just doesn't work because they've been put together
names,
by
just
the
big
machine.
names, like,
whereas if you grew up, like you see that in, like, even likes like Britain's or X Factor and all that, they put people together, and then as soon as they win the competition, the unit falls
they're gone.
apart.
You never hear about them again.
Fabricated. There's no,
like, many
there's no
many huge
there.
many huge, like, American artists, like, even that project, the one that comes to mind is The Firm, when it was Nas, Foxy Brown, AZ, and Dr. Dre produced at least a couple of tracks, and that was atrocious, like, and it's well renowned for being atrocious. You're thinking, like, Nas and Dre, that didn't work. It's like, no, it just didn't work. And I mean, while, like, they might have been friendly, and, you know, it wasn't just a case of the labels put them together, it was just kind of the assumption, like, you're Dr. Dre, I'm Nas, well, sure, we're gonna make fire, like, and it was crap. So, you know, it just, there has to be kind of not just a personal relationship, but of course you have to bounce off each other musically. And, like, with my label, I think that's a definitely huge bonus, that we're all kind of into the same shit, or at least we're all, like, you know, all of our music may not be all of our necessarily our preference, I guess, like, but it's kind of like, but that's something I would listen to. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I like all these aspects.
You have a unique dynamic.
It's not just
you don't want to be exactly the same.
But there's definitely it's definitely good to be like, no, I actually would listen to all of my mates' music. It's not just a case they're on my label and I have to. It's like, no, I actually bump this shit every fucking day, like. So that's definitely a huge bonus, as opposed to if we got fucking 8 guys. It is a good bonus that most of us knew each other really well, or quite well, for at least a couple of years beforehand. But I imagine it wouldn't work so much if we didn't know each other and it was a case that we all kind of make different music. It's like, it's just like, you know, like Wu-Tang Clan, like, you know what I mean? There's obviously a seriously fucking big shared kind of sense of interest there. They're all into kung fu. They're all from, you know, rougher areas in New York. They've all grown up in the same kind of backgrounds. So in that case, it was very easy. Even if they weren't all necessarily best mates when they got together as Wu-Tang, they all knew of each other, and there was a relationship there and a shared interest, and they ended up creating the biggest, weirdest combo ever, kung fu and hip-hop. Who the fuck would have thought that would ever work? And it's the biggest hip-hop movement of all time. Like, when you really think about it, from the logo, the tattoo, everyone's got, I don't know anyone else really with hip-hop tattoos, but I know loads of people that don't really even listen to fucking hip-hop and have got a Wu-Tang tattooed on them, like, do you know what I mean? Like, so there's nothing else has ever fucking hit like that before. And again, it was kung fu and hip-hop, and somehow, like, it really worked. Like,
it just works. It just works. Yeah, Wu-Tang Clan. That's exactly it. You've got. I mean, I don't really, to be honest, I don't really have like a select crew. I kind of, you know, dip in and out of.
You're not on GAC, are you? You're not on the GAC label, are you?
Nah. But because I live in the northeast of England. I've got guys here that I rap with, but, like, I'm probably going to be moving again at the end of the year, so I move a lot, so I never really developed a strong conglomerate that I went from city to city with gigging. I've always kind of felt like a lone wolf, who, not in complete isolation. I have people that I'm affiliated with, but unfortunately I never got a crew, so to speak, and I would love to, like, just move into a house with 5 other people and just build and just start building, but it just hasn't worked for me.
When I move out again, I'm living in Galway at the moment. I probably will move back to Limerick and try and potentially move in with some of the lads as well, because that would be a fucking sick experience, just to be living with other artists too, you know. Like, the power of the internet is very handy these days. That we're like, in our case, we all live in different counties. We got guys in Kerry, guys in Cork, guys in Limerick, guys in Galway. And it works that way, but I mean, I don't think it would work so well if I was living in the northeast of fucking England trying to fucking kind of maintain a label. That you have to be meeting in person regularly enough, like, and you have to be within arm's reach. Like an hour or two across the road is fucking fine for me. Like, do you know what I mean? But like having to get on a boat or a plane, it makes it more difficult. So I guess it's probably better in your sense to wait till you're kind of in a more settled position to be like, all right, you know, I can join up with these guys, or I can form this, or you know, something along the lines of that.
Exactly, man. I mean, my friends, I've got 3 friends, Jay Spinks, Eddie Goodlove, and 2 Common, and they started a thing where because they're all from Yorkshire, but they live in Newcastle, so they've started a group called Yorkshire Geordies, and they live together, and they've only been doing, I don't even think they've been going for a year, and already they've had a few gigs, they've got a logo, they've got good music videos out, they've got a good following. Do you know what I mean? And it's like they've done more in a year since they've put together than that group than I've done, because they live together. And TC does the graphic design, and Eddie can sing and play the guitar, and Spinks raps, and he's doing the video he's doing like camera stuff now as well. So they have all the tools on their belt. They've all the different aspects covered, and they live together. Whereas I'm here on my own, just trying to do everything, like trying to juggle everything on my own, and I love it. Like I like doing I don't outsource any graphic design or anything like that, because I like doing it myself. Do you know what I mean? But it is tasking. I genuinely enjoy it, but it's tasking, and sometimes it's like I need to just take a step back and remember that I love doing this, because I'm working on an album at the minute, and like I'm trying to rush to get it out because it's been so long. So I'm doing the graphic design, a couple of videos and stuff, and I get stressful to the point where I have to just step back and fucking meditate and say to myself, listen, it's
not going to go anywhere, like,
you know, just take your time, enjoy the process. Yeah, exactly. That's something that I've learned, is like, it's okay to keep something on the back burner for months, years if needs be, and enjoy it. Don't rush it. Never rush the process, unless, you know, it's like if you're making something for someone and they're paying you and you've got a deadline, and but if you're just doing it for yourself, then take your time. And
I definitely find it hard to take a break in that aspect, like, because I don't have a 9 to 5, and where I'm living right now, like, I'm not isolated, but like I moved back to my home village, and all my mates now are all moved away, like, to kind of Galway City and stuff like that. So it is kind of just me and myself out here. And if I have to if I want to go out and socialise, I have to kind of be prepared, like, to get up and travel and pay fucking for a bus and all that shit. So like, I find it hard to switch off.
It's an event.
Yeah, it's more of an event now to kind of meet up with my mates, as opposed to like, here, do you want to meet up now, like, because they live 10 minutes down the road. Do you know what I mean? So I find it very hard to switch off in that sense, because if I'm sitting at home, I'd much rather be sitting at home all day writing, mixing, mastering, running the label, fucking recording, or doing something, rather than what else am I going to be doing? Playing video games, or, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm on my toes in the sense that I don't have a job, so I need to be making an income in some shape or form. So I stick with producing and fucking having a creative output constantly, because I actually need it, as opposed to just, you know, wanting it. So like, I always find it hard. It's like, oh, I'm gonna take a break now. I just released an album there, like, you know, I'll take a break, and it's like after 2 days, it's like, nah, man, like, might as well go straight back at it again. Like, within fucking 6 months, I have another fucking 2 EPs written, and fucking God knows how many beats made. You know what I mean? But I don't necessarily find it stressful. The only aspect I'd ever really find stressful is when you're dealing with maybe a customer that can be a bit annoying. Like, you know, like, the worst thing I hate is like, they're telling you something's good when they don't actually agree that it's good, whether it's a beat or a video or artwork or something like that, and then you're like, what, you're in the position thinking, oh, I think I'm like 80% done, and they tell you basically, no, I want like the whole thing redone. It's kind of like, I'd say you kind of could have figured that out from the get-go, so that can be a bit annoying. It's like, you'd feel like a bit of a cunt if you want to ask for more money after putting all those hours in, but usually it's like, fuck it, you're getting paid to do this, you never thought you would be, so get over it, like, these things happen. But that's the only side to it that I find a bit stressful. But I know usually people don't necessarily do it to be a cunt. It's just more so like, I mean, I guess they're nearly afraid in the sense, it's like, oh, I don't like it right now, but maybe it'll get better. But it's like, if you don't tell me it's bad, I'm going to continue down that avenue of the way the video's being done or the way the artwork's being done. It's like, oh, actually, I don't like it at all. It's like, oh, alright, well, you could have said that earlier. It's like, don't hold back in that
that's so
sense, you know.
true.
It's like no one's gonna take it as an insult unless you're like, hey, this fucking artwork shit, what the fuck you. It's like, just be straight up, hey, I kind of would prefer. References are definitely a hugely important thing. I'd give as advice to anyone who's looking for beats to be made or artwork or videos. Find a couple of references of stuff that you find similar to kind of what you want. Obviously, don't expect a carbon copy, like, because everyone's going to do things differently, and as well, you're not going to want the beat to be the same as Straight Outta Compton exactly, but something on that vibe. Give references because it makes things so much easier. Because you know, you can just come up with fucking anything. Then if it's like, just make me a beat, like an aggressive beat, it's like. But there's like motifs to aggressiveness as well. Like you can do a totally laid back like Gigs tune where he's like relaxed as fuck, but like, you know, he means business and he's being aggressive and he's like, you know, I'm gonna fucking kill you, man. You know, that's very. But then, or it could be 3-6 Mafia where it's 5 guys going absolutely bananas, roaring into the mic, talking about they're gonna chop your head off. It's like
Snapping,
there's a huge varying fucking what's the word range that could be that, you know, that beat could be hitting or something like that. So, you know, just on a fucking bit of advice for people, references very, very important, and they'll help the likes of myself or whoever you're working with hugely, like if you're looking to get shit made.
Yeah, references or with videos, it's mood boards. You know, go through what kind of do you want it to be, a cold grey kind of overcast video, or do you want it to be like a warm, sunny, you know, summer vibe? Like I've found that with a lot of people. Like I've done some editing for people, and they've just sent me all the videos, and it's if you want me to just put it together, that's fine. And that's I've no problem doing that. But then if I send it back and they're not happy with it, then they haven't given me, as you say, any references, it's like
some people just don't know how to say it either as well. Like they don't actually know
like,
what to tell you because they might not know the terms even. Like it's like, how do I get him to kind of know I want this video to look like this? They may not just be able to convey the words. So it might be a help as well if someone doesn't mention it, bring it up, like pull it out. And it's like, is there a fucking
bring it up.
Something you're going for here? And if they can't put it into words, try and put it into words yourself. It's like, is it any way similar to the video here for Still Dre or fucking, you know, The Real Slim Shady? Like, is there something there that I could maybe match up with? You know, so it's not always a case of just people don't give a shit. There's also the side to it that this may not know how to say it. Like, I've been there myself. Like, I've definitely gotten better at being able to describe what I want as opposed to a couple of years ago, because I didn't really understand how to actually kind of convey that properly, I guess, to someone.
Yeah, I mean, I feel I can sympathise with both sides. I do get, like, sometimes I do see creatives complain online, like tattoo artists, for example. I remember seeing something where he was like, annoying questions I get asked as a tattooist. Like, fuck up, man, you're getting paid £100 an hour doing something you love. Like, do you know what I mean? If you get some newbie come in and ask a couple of questions, you know, you've no right to complain, really, you know. But I can understand both. I can see both sides. But as you say, not everyone knows the jargon. Not everyone. If someone's getting a piece of content and they don't understand like how they want it to be or the stylistic side of it, you help them.
Yeah,
help
be gentle. You were probably like that too at some point, you know.
Don't. Exactly.
But then you'll get people who've been doing it for 10, 15 years
and you know what I mean?
And like they don't understand like what stems are. And at that point it's kind of like, how long have you been here and you just never dealt with that? It's like, oh man, I'm a rapper, I can't be listening to this producer technical shit. Like, I've had that a few times and I'm like, you don't know what stems are. Like, what? Or just explain the basic process. It's like, how the fuck have you been releasing music this long? Like, who's actually been doing your stuff, like, you know? So in that sense, I don't really have any sympathy because it kind of comes off a bit arrogant, where it's like, you know, I mean, I'm a superstar. It's like, well, you're hardly a superstar, man. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't know what these fucking basic things mean, like, it's very handy to familiarize yourself, whether you're a producer or not, with what's going on, because it's a huge bonus, like, when you can just kind of, when they kind of know what they're doing, and it's as well, if a rapper is fucking versed on producer language, like, you know, they won't be totally confused when you're explaining shit to them. Or if they want something done, they can describe it properly, as opposed to just like, you know, like I had one guy just say, mix that up there, and I was like, you want me to mix the track in terms of like, you know, mixing, you know, bass, kicks, snares? You want me to mix, like, chop up the track and mix it around? You want me to fucking, like, you know, mix it like a DJ track? Like, what do you fucking mean? Like, and he was like, you know, ramp it up there. Like, and I was like, what? Like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, it's like, ramp up the bass on that. I was like, I can't really. It's a full wav beat. Like, it would make the whole track sound nasty. Like, and I was like, I understand. Like, he didn't really get it, but it's like, yeah, it'd be very handy to familiarize yourself, or at least if you don't know, shut your mouth and let the masters talk. Like,
yeah. If you don't get it, you have some kind of onus to get it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? To like make yourself get it and read up and get a little bit of know-how before you go. It's a nuanced situation. I think it varies case to case with regards to like who is being the you know, who's in the wrong. But yeah, it's just part of the process.
Do you want to plug
Awful.
some of your upcoming music, if you've got any in the works, or anything really you're potentially working on or producing at the minute?
Yeah, I mean, I'm twiddling my thumbs waiting on a verse from my good friend 90 Bro. Once I get that verse done, the album's complete and I'm going to drop it. I'm working on a video at the minute for a track off the album. It's called Mask. It's going to be dropping probably within... Actually, I'm not even going to say. I have no idea.
Don't put it in stone till it's in stone, I guess.
It's coming. Yeah, no, it is coming at some point. Before the rapture, but I'm just waiting on that one verse, and then it's gonna be 13-14 tracks. Yeah, I'm not gonna say the name yet, but
is it your best work yet?
Yeah, it's been doing it. Yeah, it is.
It has to be.
It is, and it's professionally mixed
nice.
as well. Yeah. I can't put it up, because everything I've done before, I've mixed it myself, and it's been done at different levels and shit, so it's sounded awful. But the thing is, like, every album I have to one up myself in some regard. Like, either the lyrics have to be better, or it has to be more topical, or it has to be more pleasing to the ears. You know, there has to be at least one component has to be. It doesn't all have to be better, like, you know, but one component has to be more refined than on the previous project. And I've definitely done this in terms of probably two. I think the lyrics are better, and I think it's more replay friendly. And as I say, I've got it mixed by Big Up Harbour Master, who lives here in the northeast in South Shields. He's mixed it all for me, so big up him. He's bald.
What's that got to do with it?
He's really good.
What's he's bald got to do with it?
I'm just being descriptive. He is bald. But he mixed it really well. And
I'm bald these days as well, man. I've been shaving the head since the summertime. Fucking much cheaper that way.
Are you?
Yeah, man. I actually only did it for the crack at first. Be like, fuck it, I'll shave the head, and it suits me. And I've kind of been reluctant to let it grow, because the way it grows now, it grows so badly. So like the sides of my head get all frizzy and stick out like really shit hair, and the top of it it's like I'd have to leave it grow and look shit for like probably about 2 months for it to look normal. So I've just been like, fuck it, man. I really don't care. Like, the only one that doesn't like is my owl lad, like, it's like, but everyone else like has told me, like, does it genuinely suit me? He's like, nah, man, it does actually suit you, like, so I might just stick with it.
Yeah.
And people get out of my way now all the time as well, like, you know, that was kind of dwindling as I got older. It got less intimidating look. So shaved head, you just go like in the line, and everyone's like, oh, smooth.
No, I think I'd look terrifying with a bald head, because I can't visualize your hair. Just what hair did you
it
have
was never long, and it was always
regular.
like my standard haircut was just the jar head, pretty much, like zero on the sides and back and very tight at the top, like, but still a lot more hair than I have now, like, but now it's just basically it's a zero all over. And like, I think once it kind of give it a couple of days and the color starts to fill out, and it's like, you know, I get a bit of a Nico Bellic kind of vibe off myself, do you know what I mean? And he's cool, so Yeah, I don't know. Grand Theft Auto 4, the one.
I'm not a gamer.
You're kind of stereotypical Eastern European, you know, gloves with no tips, fucking tracksuit, shaved head.
Oh, yeah,
that sort of look like tough guy.
Yeah, I've been getting my flatmate to cut my hair. He does a good job, actually. Like, normally I would just go bog standard. Just your everyday, like, regular cut, but he's been giving me skin fades and, you know, like, just fuck it, because like he's trying to improve his skills, trying to sharpen his the sword, and he's been giving me some nice touch-ups. So big up.
That's handy out.
Because it's expensive. It's expensive to go in and get a skin fade. It's like 12 quid. Some days it's 14 quid, and like I like to keep mine short, so I'd be spending that, every.
I've been saving like fuck lately, so I was like, fuck it, I can cut out the €15 haircuts every month. So I was like, fuck it. That's what I'm really trying to save up. So I was like, fuck it, I don't really care anymore. It's just hair, like, I was never fucking any good looking in the first place. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't think the shaved head's gonna make a fucking difference.
No, I don't.
I know I'm gorgeous. I'm gorgeous.
Don't say that. We both are. Anything else?
Do you have anything else to plug on your side? I guess.
Follow me on Twitter. I've got 38 followers on Twitter. I want to break that 45 mark by Christmas.
I think I follow you on the Bad Arts page.
I've been like, I've been just like arguing with people. I started off arguing with people, and then I'm more like, now I'm actually into it, unironically. Like, what I'm saying is, I was using it to shitpost and use ironically, but now I actually am hooked. You know what I mean? And like, some of my tweets are doing bits, some of my tweets are getting like 6 likes, and I'm getting more attention now than I did on my old account, where I used to have like over 1,000 followers, but it was like all, spam accounts and stuff. Like, I put it through one of those, like, where you get like fake traffic on your account, but it's all like, Palestinians and stuff. But yeah. So follow me on Twitter at Arcane
and Instagram, Facebook, all that. You're on everything basically.
Yeah. I'm there. I'm there. Here.
Yeah,
there,
Twitter is.
So. YouTube. Follow me on YouTube. Follow me on YouTube. Subscribe. I want to hit 500. I'm like 486 at the minute. By the time I put out this video, I want to be at 500.
That's the goal. I find Twitter to be a fair cesspit, and because I'm running the Bad Arts page, so it's not just me, I have to hold myself back quite often from actually replying to some of the shite I see. So I just hit block. My block list on the Bad Arts page, man, is literally 1,000 people, where it's just like, nope, I can't have you on my fucking feed. Like, fuck this. Like, I don't want to just destroy the Bad Arts reputation by cutting you in two on Twitter. Like, so I'm like, fuck it, just zip your lips. Like,
because I've got like a few people now who I actually want to maintain good relations with, but I know, like, if I posted some of the dark stuff, like more, the less savoury political takes or whatever,
I get you.
I'd probably lose a lot of good contacts. So
I've already seen a few comments from you on Twitter, man. I'm like, man.
I know.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but be careful.
I know optics isn't. It's annoying. Like, it's annoying that you can't. You do have to reel yourself back. Should you remember I put up that? Do you remember? Did you ever see Mabfield did a whole video about me?
Yeah.
Like. And now, in hindsight, like, that was a bad take that I put out, but that's just like, ever since they did that, I'm like, oh fuck, I could actually lose out on some, because I was gonna go on their podcast prior to that. Berm said I could come on.
I think I'm not sure who it was, because I remember the time it was the Breaking Down Borders gig, and I posted it on Twitter or maybe Reddit, and I got a response, and it may have been Mabfield, the ones that said like, "Oh, great roster, but like that Arcane Sucks fella's a shite hawk," and I sent it to you. Then I was like, man, like, because when I saw it, I was like, of all people, I was like, Arcane Sucks is the last guy I would have thought that, like, he's like the soundest of them all. Like, that makes no sense.
It was a fat roster.
So I was like, man, what the fuck's the story here? Like, why are you getting shit? Like, well, actually, and you were just like some Twitter bullshit. Like,
yeah, it was just some shit posting on Instagram, but actually, I did run into Dylan from Mabfield and at Stendhal, and I didn't notice it was him, but he came up with one of his friends, and I just shook his hand and he walked off, and that was it. But he's, it's no bad blood. I hate when
guns weren't pulled.
Nah, there was no Tupac and Biggie shit, but I hate when the people can't separate the art from the artist. It's like, and the politics bleeds into the music. Like, we can have different political takes and still maintain, a benevolent relationship, or at least we should be able to. But people just get too caught up in ideology.
They get too caught up in it,
it's like they identify with their ideology, so it becomes this thing where if you question this, you're questioning me, because this is the hill that I've chosen to die on. Do you know what I mean? It's like, come on.
It's a big issue these days.
Yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem, but it's not going to stop anytime soon.
And the bots as well are like I was banned for life on like the DJ Green account, like, because someone said some girl responded to something I shared that like had absolutely nothing to do with what she was saying, and she said like, oh, this would be offensive towards, and she used a racist fucking word to describe Pakistani people.
Jesus.
And I responded I was like, I'm pretty sure they would find the word that you use, and I put the word with stars in more offensive than what I posted that's got absolutely nothing to do with Pakistani people in the first place. Like, it was just like, you know what I mean, like it was basically a vine, like
that's just virtue signaling.
And the clip was the clip of the guy in the video happened to be Pakistani, but there was no racial overtones whatsoever. And she said, and then I got banned permanently for, you know, racist language, and I was like, what the fuck, like, it's like she clearly was the one who was doing it. So like obviously they don't actually have a person that's looking at this shit and being like, okay, there's context here, like, and he clearly wasn't using it in that sense. So do you know what I mean, like, and it's like it's picked up on so quickly, like, so even if you're fighting for the right reasons, it's just half the time you're gonna get banned just for arguing with people. Like, I've insulted myself on Facebook. Like, I said, who the fuck's that fucking idiot in that picture, and it was me, and it's like, you've been banned for bullying for calling yourself a fucking idiot. It's like, come on, like, surely I can self-depreciate, like.
Zuckerberg is a tough nut, like, he's
how are we going to promote music in the fucking metaverse, like?
Jesus Christ, I don't want to.
Do you know what I mean? That's going to be a funny experience, because it's like, I'm only on Facebook for that reason. I'm only on social media mainly for that reason, just to promote music. It's so handy. So it's like I hate the metaverse so much, man. It's ruining my life, but like, I need to push the Bandcamp, man.
No. Man, if it weren't for music, I'd be off of all social media in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
I'd probably be dead or in jail.
I'd have Messenger. I'd have Messenger. And not a Facebook account. You know, you can keep just Messenger and not have an actual...
I'd purposely have a fax machine just to piss people off.
Yeah. Telegram.
Fax me or fuck off, like.
Nah, I'd be sending out smoke signals and carrier pigeons. But yeah, I mean, social media is so... It's just an elephant's graveyard. Like, it's a dark place. But we need it as musicians. Like, I've made a lot of good contacts through social media.
Same.
That I wouldn't have
It does have its bonuses, like.
I mean,
people do love to bitch completely about it and then also reap the bonuses of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, yeah, okay, it is bad, but it's depending on how you use it, like.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
The poison is in the dose, very much.
Because the way our parents and grandparents talk was like, Jesus, social media is the worst thing to ever happen. It's like, yeah, but you're only ever hearing about, like, you know, the girl who's addicted to Facebook on RTE or some shit like that. You know what I mean? So they're never gonna report like, oh, musicians say that their reach for their music has fucking increased by 500% since they joined Facebook and Twitter. It's like, do you know what I mean?
True. That's true.
There is that just the fucking old wives' tale about it, like, you know, like oh, he's on Facebook, like, you know what I mean? His mind is being set on fire, like, you know, he's watching just beheading videos all day on Facebook. It's like, no, it's just kind of like...
That's only 20% of the time, though.
Yeah. It's like, it's okay sometimes, like, you know.
Everything in moderation. But, like, yeah, I mean, if you think about it, how many people that you make music with would you have met had it not been for music? We wouldn't be doing this, or for social media. We wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be doing I wouldn't have any gigs, I don't think, because
I probably would have met maybe 20 people personally, but thanks to Facebook I know literally like 1,000 people involved with Irish hip hop in some shape or form, like. And
how would you have kept in contact with them? Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't have.
Fax machine, like.
Just shout really loudly in the above.
I mean, it's a small country, like, people don't realise, like.
Everyone knows everyone.
America, you travel 4 hours in one direction, you're still in the same city, like, you're fucking in here, like, you know what I mean, you travel 4 hours, you're in a whole different fucking planet, like.
You're in the sea, yeah.
You're in Belfast all of a sudden, like, and there's fucking Union Jacks everywhere, and you feel fucking very scared and worried, like.
Yeah, you're running for your life.
So, man, we've hit the hour mark there, so we'll probably close it up. It was fucking wonderful having you on, and I hope this becomes a continuous thing in the future. So, if I last more than 50 episodes, I'll happily have you on again.
Oh yeah,
talk shite.
Yeah, I'm always happy to shoot the breeze and chat was. It's been good.
Sound alright, man. Sure, well, look.
Next episodes. Looking forward to keeping in the loop and.
Cool, man. I might have Kanye West on next.
Yeah, I think that'd be a bit of a downgrade, but.
All right, man. Look,
all right.
I'll chat to you soon.
Yeah, peace, brother.
See ya.
See ya.